What's up, everybody? This is the Information Man Show. Thank you for your patience. We're going to get this thing going. I hope everybody is doing well, given the circumstances, what has happened in Los Angeles, California. I live in California, so I've been listening to a lot of people talk about California who absolutely don't know what the hell they're talking about in terms of what goes on out here. As you know, we always have had fires. We've got dry brush. And what people don't seem to understand, too, is that we have been in a drought in California for a number of years now where we're not getting enough water that we should get. And don't listen to the naysayers out there. Reservoirs are not as filled as you think they are. I've been hiking, and I see a lot of stuff out here in California. And so when you have those kind of circumstances where you have dry climate and then people are living so close to nature, the trees, the brush, things that are not being taken care of, it's going to lead to something. Now, some people think, is this a natural disaster or was this something perpetrated by an arsonist? There's all sort of rumors going around about how this thing could have happened. One of the things that seems to be the biggest, gets the biggest play right now is Hollywood. One of the reasons why people are so caught back by this wildfire is because it hit the wealthy and it hit them hard in the Los Angeles area. And people are taking to this because these are areas where there's money out there, and you have celebrities being hit hard. And as a result, celebrities, in my opinion, are taking top billing in this whole situation. Right here, opinion, the story, this came out of the Root. The story of 2 LA wildfires while blacks suffering it's been overshadowed by white celebrity. You got the celebrities talking, running their mouths, but the people that are really being hurt in this fire, now everybody's being hurt no matter what your economic circumstance is. Everybody is being hurt one way or the other. But what's not being talked about is how the black community has been impacted by this in Los Angeles. Black people in Southern California and in California overall, we're already been taking a hit. You've got black people leaving California. It's too damn expensive to live here, to move back to the South. There's been a reverse migration from black people from the North, the West, going back from the East, back to the South. And so Los Angeles is not black people don't comprise a large number anymore, but Los Angeles is one of those cities, and we got the King Day tomorrow, a city where black people were able, in a particular part, Altadena, California is a particular part in the county of LA in which black people have had some prosperity. Out of the civil rights, that particular community is what gave rise to black middle class and black people moving upward and onward in their pursuit of happiness, pursuit of home ownership. And so one of the things that needs to get recognized in this whole situation in LA is that you got a thriving black community that was completely wiped out. Many communities were wiped out, but you had a black community in LA in a county that was completely wiped out. And I'm very concerned, everybody, because black people, we've been taking a lot of crap lately. And this is why, when I give you this presentation today, this is why I don't want to hear anybody talking about black people don't deserve no reparations. If I hear another ninja, I'm serious about this. Any ninjas out there on these YouTube streets that I hear talking that nonsense, I want nothing to do with you, because these are the examples of why black people surely need reparations. And when I show you video of what has been going on in California. You know, there used to be a time in California, as it was around the country, when you had redlining. And they actually, in California, supposed to be the liberal state. In California, you actually had white suburbs. You all saw the movie of Raising in the Sun. There were white suburbs in Madera, California, where black people were purposely kept out of home ownership. They wanted to keep the community completely white. You're going to learn why do you have black people living in East Palo Alto. That's this Northern California. There's a reason why black people were only allowed to buy in certain areas. And when you always wonder, why is it that black people live in just these areas? Because you had redlining where they forced black people to only buy in certain areas. What's unique about this community in Altadena is that people said today in most communities, people just kind of live in these areas, but they don't really know their neighbors. They don't really hang out with their neighbors. Everyone is just to themselves. In Altadena, they said this community is a community, a black community. And of course, they always say, oh, they always put in there, well, there's Latinos there. Yes, there are. There are other people of other groups that live in this community, but I'm talking about black people in particular because they make up the majority and they got completely wiped out. Generational wealth. Many people tell us that your wealth is in your home. And then the elderly, the senior citizens of black people that have lived there, how are they going to be able to rebuild? You're already talking about these insurance companies ripping people off. This is a community that has everything to do. When people say, well, did the civil rights movement do anything for black people? The civil rights movement allowed these black people to move into this area and get the American dream, or what they thought was American dream, through buying a home and developing generational wealth. What's interesting about this community in Altadena is that a lot of these black folks have lived there for years, 20, 30 years, and they have passed their homes down to the next generations. And that's what's unique is that everybody in this community knows each other. Everybody is tight. This is why this whole situation is devastating. Let's go back in the past. This is a picture back in the 70s. Damn it, it reminds me of my own childhood. The young boy that looked like me, looks like my hair, looks like my pants, looks like my outfit that I wore when I was a youngster in the 70s. Damn it. This is an example of black people trying to move onward and upward. I want to thank everybody that comes over. We got Patty Kitchen and Garden. Make sure y'all go over there and check her channel out. Man, she be making some good food over there. I mean, the food is so good. It's like, make you want to slap somebody. Thank you, Patty, for coming over. I appreciate you for coming over and joining the channel today. So I just want to show you that this is an example of a black community that's thriving. 42, and I'm going to read some notes here. 42 residents, 18% are black, and has been among the hardest hit in this wildfire. Hardest hit. Nobody wants to talk about that. In that area of Eaton, which Altadena is part of it, the Eaton Fire that started in those hills and came down, they said that, now, this is a blast from the past. Now, I know that California doesn't have enough firemen and women, and I'm going to tell you today, as someone who lives in California, why we don't have enough firemen and firewomen, to the point that they have to use, and I know this very well, they have to use the incarcerated. That's right. They have to use the incarcerated, particularly black men who are working in these fire camps. Do you know that a good majority of the people that are fighting this fire in California are not your garden variety firemen? It is inmates, the incarcerated, individuals that are working off their time through giving back, through working in fire services for the state. And they're getting paid very little money for what they're doing. When these black people in Altadena, out of the Eaton Fire, when they were hit, here you have a sister right here trying to pick up whatever she can find that's left of her property, or maybe she found some jewelry or family momentum. Here's a brother right here. Here's a family right here. Obviously, the wife is crying. This is devastating for black people because home ownership has been difficult for us over the decades. Home ownership has eluded some of us over the decades. And we, more than any group, damn it, any group in this country have been impacted by the institutional systems of racism, white supremacy in this country that has done everything it can to keep black people out of home ownership. My concern is that will this community, a black community in Altadena, California, in Southern California, will they be able to come back from this devastation? Will they be able to come back? These two brothers right here are firemen. And what they do is they train and they provide training and job opportunities for those that are coming out of prison. But let me tell you something, why California is paying them pennies on the dollar to also risk their life out there. Do you know that most of the incarcerated, when they get out of prison, they can't even get a job working for the fire department? When doing so could keep them out of what? Out of prison. I want to thank those of you that are coming over. I want to thank you for watching this program today, no matter how many we have over here. Jill's Chocolate Boutique, is so good to have you back and see you here. I want to say thank you. You say thank you, Info Man, for shining a light on Altadena. I used to live there in the 90s, and all of the banks and supermarkets I shopped in, as well as resident restaurants, are gone. But this is the question I have for you, good sister. This is the question I have for you. Let me get closer to the camera. My question I have for you is, how many of those restaurants that you frequent, those businesses in the community, were black owned? Because not only do you have black home ownership gone, and look, we know that white folks, celebrities, Asians, Latinos, other people who live in the surrounding areas of this community have lost their property. And I'm not denying that. But we're talking about black folks in particular because we were the ones in this country, more than anybody, who opened the freaking door for these other groups to be able to get home ownership, because it was the civil rights movement under Dr. King that made it possible for this community. Tell me if I'm wrong or right, Chocolate Boutique. It made it possible for black people to get that upper mobility in this area of Los Angeles. It had this is an area where black people have lived there from first, second, and third generation. And the question is, will California do right? Now, I got to keep it real with you because I got a bone to pick. We saw, ladies and gentlemen, in Chicago and in places like New York, where you had migrants coming in. Remember in Chicago? And the migrants were being put up in hotels. The migrants they were creating tent cities for them and all kind of set-asides for them. Where is the hotel vouchers? We don't hear any of this. Where are the hotel vouchers in the Holiday Inns? No, hell with the Holiday Inn, the luxury hotels. We haven't heard anything, unless I'm wrong, everybody, that they're putting black folks and folks in general, just people in general, in these good hotels. They can find money for the illegals. Matter of fact, in California right now, they're spending millions of dollars to provide free medical care for the illegal. Now, you may say, oh, you hating on these people. No, I'm telling the truth right now.
Tell the truth.
If you can find money for people who don't pay taxes, not citizens, have put no blood, tear, and sweat into the country, long term. We got black folks who done fought in every damn war this country didn't had, from the Civil War to the Revolutionary War against Great Britain, from World War I, World War II, Korean War, damn it. We've had black people and women. Y'all all saw that movie that Tyler Perry put out about the sisters in the military with the mail and everything like that. We had the Tuskegee Airmen. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have the freedoms that they keep telling us that we have. When you talk about Dr. King, when you talk about the flag in this country, when you talk about the triple nickel, the all paratroop group of brothers jumping out of those planes and fighting for freedom at home, to be able to do what? Come back home, buy a home. When we know that when black men would come back from war, they would literally get hung and would have uniforms torn off of them and deal with racism. Which is why you have or had a thriving black community in Altadena in the first place, because remember, you had a great migration of black people moving from the south to the east to the north into the damn west. And they dealt with racism here in the west.
Tell the truth.
Don't be fooled by the liberalism that you hear about in California. Now, I'm going to tell you and get into areas. Why is it that this fire happened, and why didn't they have enough money to have more money for the fire department? Now, everybody is blaming Karen Bass for this situation, saying that they cut a $17 million budget, but now they're saying that it doesn't matter if they had $17 million in the budget. That wouldn't have helped this wildfire, because what you need to understand is that the water pumps in the systems are not built for the capacity of taking on this type of fire. There's a difference between fighting fire in an urban environment, and now you've got this wildfire that's getting all over the damn place and taking over everything. This is Altadena. This is what happened to it. This is an aerial satellite picture. California should have known better. The governor should have known better. They should have made this a priority, just like they can make a damn priority to pay free medical care for the illegals. Karen Bass, when she came into town, she should have at least told that reporter that she feels something for the people that have lost their homes. She shouldn't have sat up there like she did and looked dumbfounded. Karen Bass, you should have never did this. You should have never sat up there and did what you did right here.
Citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning. Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today?
Now, she didn't have anything to say. Now, a lot of people gave her a lot of criticism because she was in Africa for a diplomatic trip. Now, let's use logic. She didn't create the fire in LA, because the way the media demonized her in this way, she's the mayor of Los Angeles. It was the county that was on fire. She's not the mayor of Altadena. She's not the mayor of any of those counties out there. She's the mayor of Los Angeles. You have to hold her accountable for whatever fires damaged LA proper. She ain't the mayor of those. She ain't the mayor of Malibu. How many of y'all in the chat room have even been to California and have been to Northern California or Southern California in these areas? Malibu, Santa Monica. I've been down there. I mean, I'm in Northern California, but I've been down there plenty of times. Put sevens in the chat room if you've been to California and you've seen these areas. She's not the mayor of Santa Monica. She's not the mayor of Malibu. She's the mayor and responsible. Let's get this. Let's status correct this. She's the mayor and responsible for the municipalities, should I say the word correct, of the area that she has jurisdiction in. However, she should have not froze. Now, there's a lot of ways you can look at this, and some people are going to say, oh, you're making excuses for information, man. She might have been in shock. Here she is on a trip, finds out. Now, people are criticizing her because they're saying she should have never went on the trip when there was already reports that there was something happening prior to her going on a trip. But I think she could have at least said something like she feels for the people. She could have said something. Now, I know she wanted to have her regular press conference, but damn it, Karen Bass, you could have at least said something to this English talking fella from Sky News.
Citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning.
Damn it.
Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today?
I'm going to stop it right there. The reports is that it's $17 million cut budget. Check this out. How about y'all put this in your pipe and smoke it? How much money went to the police department of Los Angeles, the LAPD, the sheriff's department, because the police budgets take up a heavy hunk of the damn budget. Remember, we live in a world where everybody is telling us we got to be protected from the criminals. We need protection. The criminals are out here getting us. Everybody's running around saying, support the blue, right? How much? And you look at the gritty details. If you live in California, you would know that the police budget sucks up a lot of the money that the fire department should actually get. But the priority is in the fire department because people are more focused on the here and now, which is crime. Crime happens here and now. We need more police in this community. We need more police over here. We got the gang task force. We got this. We got all kind of shit in California, and particularly in Southern California. So when you say she cut the budget away from fire and safety, you can make that argument, but the devil is in the details. Where did the money go, and where was the political pressure to get the shit done? Now, the celebrities are complaining, but damn it, if the celebrities were so concerned about the wildfires before this happened, the celebrities could have made more noise way, way back when. Nobody was making noise in California in those communities that have the most bullhorn right now, which is the celebrities. None of them were complaining about the brush in the trees and the bushes that need to be trimmed around the property in the hills where they lived. This was going to happen, unavoidable, whether Karen Bass was mayor or not, whether Gavin Newsom was governor or not. It was going to happen, but they should have prepared better. And maybe if they would have not give the damn police department all the damn money, recognizing that you're going to also need emergency services like fire departments, then you would understand how did the budget and why did the budget get cut and who benefited the most. I'm telling you right now, it's the damn police departments in Southern California who benefited the most. And then Gavin Newsom was also asleep at the wheel as well. He's the governor. To me, more fingers should be pointed at him because he's the governor of the whole damn state. And we're supposed to have policies and emergency services that are supposed to check for these things. Used to be a time in California where you had groups of people that would cut the brush, that would go up in those hills and trim things down. This shit hasn't been happening because the budget and the priorities have gone somewhere else. This is why Karen Bass can't speak here, because she's in shock and she knows that she's effed up as well in her administration. But it's not just Karen Bass that deserves the blame. It's a whole lot of people.
Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today? Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering...
Now, this is the thing that bothers me. This bastard Elon Musk has his business in our politics. This billionaire, this creep who came from South Africa, and his family has their background in apartheid, right? Remember the apartheid system? This creep, who's not even a real American, who's infiltrated, he's an interlooper, has interlubed into our politics, and now he's telling the reporter she's incompetent. A man who lied and admitted and tried to deny it that he came over to this country as an illegal himself. Let's hear this. Now, Karen Bass should have said something here.
In your position? Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today who are dealing with this disaster? No apology. No apology for them.
Now, this is the area that got burnt, y'all, right here. I've been in these areas. These counties in LA where you got homes on hills, homes near brush. Once again, this was going to happen no matter what when they're not taking care of and spending money on things that are necessary, because it doesn't, you can't clap and it doesn't make people say, hey, you're getting the job done. When you're giving money to the police and saying that you're tough on crime, people will resonate with you spending money to give police more tools to fight crime. But if you're telling people we're spending millions of dollars and billions of dollars to have people cut trees and brush and all this sort of stuff, that ain't sexy. That ain't sexy to the voters. That ain't sexy to people until shit like what happened in LA happened. Now everybody is saying, what happened? Why they didn't spend no? Because taking care of these type of areas, this is LA here, it's not a priority. What's a priority is the shit down here in the downtown area, the high-rise buildings. That's a priority to people. Or focusing on the celebrities, that seems to be the priority. Focusing on Hollywood. Now the celebrities are hollering foul. Do
you think you should have been visiting Ghana while this was unfolding back home?
So she didn't say anything, everybody. I think she should have at least said she feels for the people who lost their homes. I think that would have been a better way to go with this. Because black people lost something.
Madam Mayor, let me ask you just again, have you anything to say to the citizens today as you return?
No. Okay, they're gonna. Ma'am, hold on 1 second.
Madam Mayor, just a few words for the citizens today as you return to deal with the catastrophe.
Can you take this down?
She's leaving out there.
David, as you say,
I want to stop it there and I want to put this up, read this to you. Almost 21% of the folks that live there are affected directly by the Eaton Fire are black. The majority, 21%, okay, which is high considering that black people make up 8% of the overall population of Los Angeles. That's not good, folks. We don't make up a lot of population. Then we're losing homes where black people have been for generations. That's not good. Population of Los Angeles County, currently a quarter of black residents in Altadena are 65 years and up. What did I say about generational home ownership? A lot of the citizens that own their homes in Altadena, California, are black people that are 65 and years and up. You're talking about senior citizens. Are they going to have the energy to be able to rebuild their homes, go through all the red tape, all the contractors bullshit that they got to deal with? Will they be able to? Now, a lot of people are saying they're going to rebuild, but then What about those black people who are completely wiped out? Most of their wealth was in their home and they may not be able to rebuild. Then you got to figure out how will they be able to prove what belongs to them, what plots of the home land belongs to them, because you know somebody's going to play a game. And I said again, when you're taking money out of the budget and you're not prioritizing fire departments as much as you do the police departments, then you have to rely on individuals that are incarcerated for criminal activity. Now you have to rely on them doing the work that many people don't want to do. And let me put this up here for you. Nearly 1,000 incarcerated men and women have joined the front lines in a battle against record-breaking wildfires burning across Southern California. The number deployed now is 939. You know why they have to employ these many people in a fire, and they've been doing this even before this, everybody? They have to do this because they don't have enough firemen and women. And when most of these incarcerated individuals, as I said earlier, get out of prison, they're not allowed to join the police department because of their criminal background. But don't you think if you would allow them to join the police department, it would actually help decrease crime? It would actually help them to not go back to prison, the recidivism. But they don't give a damn, because by having them incarcerated, California is saving a lot of money by using people like this brother to fight the wildfires by paying them nothing. And you may say, hey, I don't give a damn because they're criminals, but this is the deal. 939 are part of a long-running volunteer program led by California Departments of Corrections and Rehabilitation, and I know that department very well. Their numbers have steadily increased since Tuesday, this past Tuesday, of course. The deadly fires began spreading uncontrollably through Los Angeles. Let's put this up here for you. The program, which dates back to 1946, has divided critics who see it as a exploitation and support who say it is a rehabilitative program. But there are people who see this as just another way to have slave labor, to pay these people to do the job of a fireman by not paying them the money of a fireman, but by not hiring new firemen, not training new firemen, because you can simply bring in inmates. And the state of California has been doing this a long time. What I'm saying to you is that they didn't prepare, folks. They've been relying on inmate labor to fight fires in California. At the same time, not training and hiring citizens who are not incarcerated, and then not recruiting these inmates out of CDCR when they get out of prison to join the fire. If they would just give them a damn job, maybe California would not be in a situation where they don't have enough firemen and women, because they would have given these folks who are fighting the bulk of the fire, ladies and gentlemen. The bulk of the fire is being fought by brothers like this. Von Bryant, thank you for coming over. Ask anyone to please share Mom's GoFundMe page. Did your mother lose her home, Von Bryant? Put the link to the damn page in here. Jessie Black, she lost her home and car in the Eaton Fire. Thank you. Hey, Von Bryant, put the link to your mother's. Is it in there? Okay, I see it in there now. Thank you for the super chat. Keep dropping that link throughout the program. Everybody, go over to that link when you have an opportunity and drop a few bucks in there. I'm going to drop some money in there. Damn it. The state pays inmates daily a wage between $5.80 to $10.24, an additional $1 per day when assigned to active emergencies. Those wages are a fraction of salary received by citizen firefighters in California who can earn up to $100,000 annually. Damn it, we don't have any firefighters in California. They're not hiring them. They're not spending money in the budget. But I can bet you any kind of money. They got no problem with hiring more police out of the academy. Where are the firemen? Well, you've got people who you could train and enhance their ability that are coming out of the fire camps in prisons. You could help them out by helping the state, at the same time helping them not to go back to prison. But no, it pays for them to stay in prison. It pays for them to go back to prison because you can make them do the work of a fireman and woman and give them damn near slave wages. Damn near.
Tell the truth.
Let me play this for you here. Check this out. This is about Altadena and the situation there. Check this out.
Region 11, we're in Altadena near Pasadena. CBS's Elise Preston is there for us tonight. Elise, good evening to you.
Maurice, good evening to you. There are 12 people missing in the Eaton Fire and at least 7,000 structures damaged or destroyed. One of those structures was the beloved home of Michael and Felita Keeling.
The Eaton Fire has devoured parts of Altadena and Pasadena, historic communities that generations of black families called home. Those homes are now gone.
Nice to meet you.
I'm so sorry.
Michael Keeling and his family are my distant relatives.
No, you look like the Prestons.
Michael.
This is a damn shame, everybody. Now, on social media, we say ADOS, FBA, American descendants of slavery. When black people on these YouTube streets talk about being foundational, when we talk about being folks that have been here and have put roots in, this is an example of it. And this is why we make the noise that we make and beat our chest the way we do. This is history.
Nice to meet you.
I'm so sorry.
Michael Keeling and his family are my distant relatives.
No, you look like the Prestons.
Michael's great-grandparents first settled in this part of the country more than a century ago during the Great Migration.
Boom. More than a century ago. More than a century ago. So I don't want to hear nobody who just got over here, a Johnny-come-lately, talking any crap to ADOS, foundational, whatever you want to call ourselves, Black American, whatever we want to call ourselves. I don't want to hear nobody talking when these are examples of black people setting ground in this country, and there are black people that came over here even before this time. The Great Migration.
When millions of black Americans moved across the country hoping for better opportunities.
Right. Oakland, Los Angeles, Seattle, Milwaukee, Detroit, Buffalo, New York, Rochester, New York, Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Baltimore. For those of y'all that's been involved in this hip hop debate, we created hip hop. We're the ones that settled these areas like Philadelphia, Baltimore, New York, Cincinnati, St. Louis, Indianapolis, Kansas City, if you can come, right? Chicago, Milwaukee, Denver, Washington, D.C., Chocolate City it used to be, okay? Let's get to it.
Tell the truth.
It actually is worse than I thought.
We are all meeting for the first time as the family sees what's left of the house where they created 25 years worth of memories.
It was
Wow.
really hard watching on TV as the things you're familiar with were burning down. That really hurt.
Yeah.
This was like the only house I've ever known. I still see the house.
As the fire approached their home, Preston and Miles gathered what they could.
My dad calls me, asked him, what do I need to get? Like, what's like irreplaceable? So he come to get the photo album.
That album, an heirloom of family photos spanning 4 generations of our shared family history.
I've seen that photo in my grandparents' house, this photo right here.
For this family, my family, precious lives and priceless memories spared.
If you're fortunate enough to have insurance, you can rebuild. You can put your stuff back in a new place. But the images and the letters and the faces of the people that have either with you or have gone before you, those you're not going to be able to replace when they're taken by a fire.
Now, the family says they have insurance and plan to rebuild here in Altadena with hopes of leaving something for future generations.
I want to read a report here. They said that in the report that I have, said that Eaton Fire alone charred more than 1,000 structures, y'all. 1,000 structures. And killed at least 5 people in Altadena, per the Los Angeles Times. So this took people's lives. I feel bad for people that have lost them. Make sure y'all go to Von Bryant's GoFundMe. Von Bryant, make sure you also put that GoFundMe in the comments section of this video. So when I complete this video today, go into my comment section, and I want you to drop that in the comment section as well. Black home ownership in this area was rated at about 81.5%, nearly double the national average for Black Americans, families like you saw on there. It's all gone. It's all been wiped out. My concern is about them being able to get it back because the average age of Black people in this community is 65 years and older. And you know that there are some predatory banks out there, predatory contractors out there that are knocking at the bits to get their hands on this land. You saw what happened in New Orleans back in 2005 during the Katrina. They never did put the Ninth Ward back together. The Ninth Ward and many other Black communities in New Orleans, they were too busy trying to get rid of Black folks. And then you have to say, how do you claim what's yours? How do you make the claim when there's so many games that go on in these situations? Make sure you subscribe, hit the bell notification, everybody. I got more for you to see. This is crazy. Check this out.
Holds a history of family, struggle, and beloved
These are the families I'm talking
community.
about.
One time we were 30% African American.
The Mountain View Cemetery is the resting place of abolitionist and educator Ellen Garrison Jackson Clark and renowned author Octavia Butler. The community is also home to hundreds of Black families whose homes were ravaged by the Eaton Fire 1 week ago.
How many of you are familiar with Octavia Butler? She's a sort of like a Black sci-fi. This sister is deep. She writes books. She kind of gets into that sci-fi type stuff, sort of like the Matrix type stuff. She's that type of ilk of a sister that writes in that kind of style. This is a community that she lived in. This whole thing is a damn shame. Let's continue.
You've got 3 generations of, and we are Daniels, Franklin, Hughes, and we have an element that's not here, Freeney.
Between these families,
3 generations. So anybody, this is why I'm going to say it again. There's no need to debate with any of these folks that come over here trying to get up in our face about our culture, us delineating ourselves. She's talking about 3 generations. We've been here. And most of these folks, I'm going to tell you, Dr. King Day is tomorrow. But go back and do your history. In 1965, during the Civil Rights Movement, Dr. King also made possible a bill that was passed that allowed the movement, the further movement and progression of integration into this country. Most of these other ethnic groups, they wouldn't be here benefiting what they benefit if it wasn't for us. Omega Dreads Gaming Channel, I appreciate you being here. Von Bryant, I apologize. I'm so sorry about what has happened to your mother. New, thank you for being here. Jill, thank you for being here. Let's get back. I got some more stuff for you folks. Don't go nowhere.
7 homes were destroyed.
There's generational wealth that is in question now.
One that is still standing is the home Shelley Daniels and her husband Paul purchased for about $16,000 in 1960.
At that time, it was pretty difficult as a black person to get past Woodbury, really.
Shelley and Paul were engaged in racial justice efforts with organizations.
Peace and respect to you, Jonathan Kidd. Good to see you over here. And check for those who check for you. Thank you for coming over too.
Organizations like the NAACP and Women in Action.
We organized in order to get a black member on the city council.
Shelley's granddaughter, Jamaica Hughes, lived in one of the family homes that was destroyed.
I've raised my kids here. Their friends are reaching out. I've had friends reach out to me literally from junior high school.
Hughes is determined to return and rebuild, a wish her 93-year-old grandmother echoes.
I would hope for Altadena to rebuild.
Now, everybody in the chat room, this sister right here, and they're saying that they want to rebuild. Do you believe that they will be able to rebuild? My concern is the potential for the funny business. And you know what kind of funny business I'm talking about. I'm concerned about the funny business and the manipulation, the lying, the trying to undermine black people and people that will claim that that's my land. The question is, if the average age of black people in this community are 65 years and up, and there's a 3-generation gap situation, I wonder how many of them have their records, their deeds, all these different things, not just on paper, but in the cloud. What do I mean by the cloud? They got it all in the computerized system where they can grab a laptop and they can pull it from the cloud. You know what I mean by that. People that's in the computers, that they can pull their information and their data to prove this is where I lived. This is my plot. How is all of that going to come out in the wash? And then once again, how many of the black people who live there have the energy, the financing to pay to rebuild? It takes 3 to 4 years to rebuild in a situation like this. Where are they currently living? Some are living with family, some are in a hotel room that they're probably paying for themselves. Yet we're willing in New York, in Chicago, even in California, we're willing to put illegals in fine hotels. And we got Governor Newsom, because this couldn't happen without him and his silliness. The last reports I heard is that they're spending millions of dollars to provide free health care for people who, A, are not legally here and don't belong here. Money that's going to them could be going to help these folks here in many other situations. They have their policies on dealing with the homelessness problem in LA. They spent a lot of money on that, but it's been abysmal because their approach is the wrong approach.
I don't think I'll be here to see Altadena rebuild, but I do hope that Altadena rebuilds, because it's a wonderful place.
This is the damn shame of it. She says, I don't think that I'm going to be here to see it rebuilt. That's a damn shame.
But I do hope that Altadena rebuilds, because it's a wonderful place.
Today, Altadena is a diverse community, roughly 18% African American and 27% Latino.
Now, in the beginning of this video, you had a sister that said that the community used to be 30%. Black people that's what I'm saying. We're losing ground in California. This was a community that was 30% black. Now it's 26% Latino, 18% black. Because you know how this game works. Every time black people have a community that we can call our own, other groups, we're so inviting. we're so open arms with everybody, right? Every time we've got a damn community, guess what? When people come over here from other countries and other places, where do you think they dump them at? They always dump them in our community. They always put them at our community. Now it's a black community that went from 30% down to 18%, and Latinos are at 26%. Now you tell me, is this black enclave gonna maintain itself? Let me play this for you. I'm gonna bring this back to that you can hear what that the woman before has said that it was at 30% in the beginning. Who was it that said that? There was somebody. Watch this. Hear this again.
Holds a history of family, struggle, and beloved community.
At one time, we were 30% African.
Boom! Right there. She said at one time they were 30% Black American. What the hell happened? Listen to this again.
Holds a history of family, struggle, and beloved community.
At one time, we were 30% African American.
The Mountain View
30% down to 18%. And with this fire, it's going to be worse. Listen again.
But I do hope that Altadena rebuilds because it's a wonderful place.
Today, Altadena is a diverse community, roughly 18% African American and 27% Latino.
Give honor and homage.
Here you go. Here you go with the bullshit already. Watch out when people start using that damn word diverse and people of color and all this other nonsense. It's not diverse. Black people in this community are becoming slowly a minority in their community. A community that was built by black people out of the civil rights movement. And if it was not for the civil rights movement, the Latinos that have moved into the community at 26% would have never been able to live there in the fucking, I'm getting a little upset. I'm getting a little bit, they wouldn't even be there in the first place if it had not been for the foundation of black people. See, black people, we take the punishment. Our ancestors take the punishment. We take the dogs. We take the whips. We take the water. We take all the sacrifice and the marching and the civil rights. And then other people come over and now they got a safe road. They got a safe route to go. Black people took the punishment and all the BS, and then other people come over here and reap the damn benefits that they didn't even fight for. And this is why I'm pissed, because how many of these black folks are going to be able to make claim to their land before some other robber baron take it? Now, you might have heard that the lawyer, there's a lawsuit. I think Crump is going to sue LA over the fact that they didn't have water running. They didn't have certain municipalities certain things that were not working in terms of utilities that weren't working properly, that should have been up to code.
The diversity of our community. There's a large Japanese presence in Altadena.
Great, there's a large Japanese presence, but why? This is the question. How did they get there? Black people laid the foundation that allowed these other groups to move into the community and get a home because black people had to take the punishment first. That's just a fact. They come in wasn't involved in the fighting for it, didn't do anything to change the laws. They just benefit off the laws. And then this is why, and then they got the nerve to look at us funny, look at us like we don't belong here. I tell you, man.
Monica Jones, a lifelong resident of Altadena and president of the Altadena Historical Society, hopes the voices of these residents are at the center of an equitable rebuilding of the city. She also has a message to the many intergenerational Black families who call this home.
They don't have to leave. It's their home. It's their place that people, years ago set down the stakes and paid the price for them to be here.
What did I just say? This sister just said it right there. She said there were people who paid the price for Black people to be able to live in that community when they were up to 30%. And the people that came behind Black people that lived there, they didn't pay no damn price. Yeah, the price that they paid was the price for the home. Okay? But they didn't pay the other prices that those Black, well, that's the thing that's sad about this, because she says she doesn't want them to go away, that she wants them to maintain, but it's going to be difficult because what type of games is the county going to play? Because you know how this works. When this situation happens, you've got people that are saying, good, we wanted to get rid of them people out of that community. We wanted to get rid of that. Now we can build it in the image that we wanted in. All kind of tricky things can happen. Situation's crazy. Check this out. This brother right here that I'm going to play for you, once again, I know Black people are religious and all of that, and Jesus this and Jesus. I get that. We're very spiritual people. He kind of was singing a little bit, even though he lost his property. I'm going to tell you, I lose my property. I'm not doing no singing. I'm figuring out who I'm suing. And he breaks down about the redlining here, right here. He's and he also is a musician. He lost a lot of valuable equipment in his home at Altadena. Wow. Check this out.
To trust in Jesus.
Jackson made Altadena his home in the 70s when redlining prevented him from buying a home in nearby cities.
What redlining does is not allow minorities to acquire loans in designated areas. So if you can't get a loan, obviously you cannot.
Did you hear what he said? Redlining is the way to keep Black people from getting a home in designated areas. And when I show you my last video today that shows you exactly how white people did this shit in California and across the country to keep certain suburbs white, it's going to amaze you.
By the house. And then there are actually cases where the realtor just wouldn't sell you the house.
He was among the first to move to Altadena. Eventually, the neighborhood became an enclave for African Americans. By some accounts, Altadena has 80% Black home ownership, double the national average. Those homes also symbolize the generational wealth now wiped out in a matter of hours.
And I'll take back what the devil...
Did you hear that they said that it's accumulation of generational wealth? And what is that one thing that Black people have tried to gain in this country? It has been a struggle over the years, is generational wealth. Some people are wealthy within their home. Some people have financial savings and various money accounts and things, various ways that they invest their money so that their money grows. And then there are people, and I believe there's a lot of seniors in this community, Black seniors, who pretty much were probably living off the equity of their home at this point in time, because those homes, before they burned down, I'm sure were $1 million homes. Let me read this to you real quick, everybody, before I get back to this video. The unincorporated community, check this out, in the San Gabriel Valley, homes to 42,000 residents, has long stood as a beacon of Black home ownership. This whole area that had Black people has been wiped out completely. Black ownership in the middle class stability, with 18% of the population identifying as Black Altadenans. Also hosted driven community to include, as I said before, there's Latinos, there's Asians, and all those sort of things of that nature. Let's continue.
stole from me, and I shall rejoice, for I shall recover it all.
Jackson vows to rebuild.
Of course, I had pictures of my parents, my mother who provided me with a lot of silverware and other things.
Rebuilding will take years, and he might never replace all the instruments and studio equipment that allowed him to perform and stream for the Darnell Ministries. He's hoping that at the very least he can replace his pro-level Yamaha 88-key synthesizer so he can play again for the congregants.
I had a B3 organ there, I had the big baby grand piano, then I had all the digital keyboards, and then they were all stacked there.
Wow. I think I appreciate you all coming over and supporting this content today. You know, I'm not doing anything polarizing. You know, I'm talking about an entertainer or some celebrity now. Celebrities are complaining about their situations, and, you know, nobody should lose their home no matter how rich or poor you are. But I really think that the celebrities are taking front center because of who they are. And let's not forget about people like these black folks that live in Altadena who may not have the celebrity status to bring light to their situations. I want to say thank you to Ronnie Hunter. He says, gave me a $20 super chat. He says, thank you, Information Man, for covering this. Hey, I thank you for the super chat, and I appreciate that. Make sure that you guys go over to the GoFundMe. Von Bryant put a GoFundMe for, I believe, his mother, if I'm not mistaken, who has lost some things, and you can maybe give a little bit of support there. He's been putting the link in the chat room. Ronnie, thank you for coming over. Geo Chocolate says, thank you, Information Man, for covering this story. Thank you. Thank you, everybody that's here. Make sure, this is how you can help the channel today. Make sure you share this video with other people on YouTube, on your channel, your friends, your family. Share it in your social media, because YouTube don't want us doing this type of content. They want us to be over here screaming and yelling at each other and what have you, and not doing this. Look. The gentleman that you just listened, and don't think that I don't believe in God, that I'm not a spiritual person. I believe that he has the right attitude. Okay? I'm just saying that if it was me, I'd be like, I'm suing somebody, and I'm suing somebody on Jesus' name, y'all, on Jesus' name. On Jesus' name. I'm going to pray on it. I'm going to pray to God. I'm going to wish for good things for me in the name of God. Submit myself to God, but at the same time, with the power of God, I'm suing somebody. I'm suing somebody, and I'm moving some damn furniture around here.
Tell the truth.
Now, I've never been a great fan of Attorney Crump, but damn it, Crump put me in the lawsuit. We're going to sue the city, the county, whoever the hell it is, who's responsible for not making sure we got A, enough trained firefighters, B, you got working systems, water systems that's supposed to be working. And I'm going to say it again. Holly Favor, how you doing, sister? Coffee 7564, how you doing? The reason why California is in a predicament that it is in, because they've been, in terms of fire personnel, because they've been relying on employing, or no, not employing, using incarcerated individuals to take care of our most dangerous fires in this state. And as a result of all that slave labor that they're getting, they're saving money actually training and paying a damn good salary to people who are not incarcerated. They're not prioritizing the budget properly. That's why Karen Bass is setting up here. And I hate to come at a sister like this, but this is why she was goofy in the way that she was. In a way she did not approach this situation properly. I want to go back to that video. I want to go back to that just real quick. Not to take up all your time, but I think it's important. This is not acceptable, Karen Bass.
Have you nothing to say today? Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today? Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position?
Oh, to hell with Elon Musk. This is where she messed up. I'm sure she was in shock. I'm sure she was stressed coming back home off that plane. But all she had to say, which I think would have come off a lot better in the eyes of the public for her, all Karen Bass had to say is that I feel bad for the families that have lost their homes. I feel bad for people who have died in this fire. I feel bad about the destruction that people are suffering through. I think if she would have at least said that and told that man, that reporter from Sky News, I will talk further about this issue. We will have an official press conference when I gather all the staff. I gather the assessment. When I get the advisors to give me more details as to what's going on, I will have more to say. But until then, I want to say my heart goes out to the family. Karen Bass, that's all your ass had to say.
Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today who are dealing with this disaster?
All reliable. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for coming over.
No apology for them?
That's all she had to do, everybody. And this is the reason why she's in this situation. Karen Bass, with her city in flames, LA Mayor Karen Bass, political future hangs in the balance. Mayor Karen Bass at a news conference Saturday with fire chief. So she's under the gun. And this sucker right here, Gavin Newsom, needs to be under. This man is finished. He wants to be president. He's finished. Democrats are goofy as all get out. He's finished. People in California don't like Gavin Newsom. We should have never put him in for a second term. He's goofy. He's bad. Brown girl, Bella, thank you for coming over.
Tell the truth.
Make sure you check out her channel. Wow. This is unbelievable, y'all. We talking about LA, y'all. We talking about LA, Hollywood, the whole, the Walk of Fame, all those different things, right? LA's got some of the worst traffic in the world. Look at that. This is real footage from LA, y'all. They got some of the worst traffic that you ever want to deal with in LA, right? And now it's been burnt like this. This is a satellite video or picture of the damage in the City of Angels, y'all. This is the downtown area of LA right here. But let me let you know something about LA that many people may not know. Check this out. Included parties, black people in Los Angeles property is 10% black, estimated at 385,000 residents in 2021. This is a few years back. Many black Americans have become homeless in the city. Black Americans make up 34% of Los Angeles homeless. So the number has gone down. It's actually 8% of Los Angeles is made up of black people. 8%. But back then in 2021, we're in 2025, obviously, we were at 10%. We've been dwindling down. You see. And we're making up 34% of the homeless that's out there on Skid Row. While only being 8%, oh, okay, it says it right here, only being 8% of the population in 2020. 10% of black, estimated 385,000 residents in 2021. Many African Americans have become homeless. This is unacceptable. This is Very, very, very unacceptable, y'all. Make sure that you hit the bell notification, subscribe to the channel, share it out. I would appreciate that wholeheartedly. But it doesn't stop there. Here's another black family that has lost their property, but they're coming together as black people can to figure a way through this emotionally and spiritually. Check this out.
So they left. I stayed back and tried to fight as long as I could. You know, I stayed until maybe 6 in the morning. But by that time, the backyards had caught on fire. The embers were flying, the winds were going 50 to 70 miles an hour, and it was unbearable. I finally had to leave, but it was just a terrible night at that point.
My family dates back to 1915, coming to the Pasadena, Altadena area.
Hank, wait a minute. Woo! See? This is what I'm talking about. She said her family dates back to 1915. So black folks have been in this. God. This predates the civil rights movement. God.
And my parents moved up into the Altadena area about 1965.
1965.
And they were actually the first African-American family to live on our street.
Wow.
The city was one of the first within the 60s to allow black families to move in, but also...
Do you hear what she's saying? They were one of the first to allow black families to move into this particular suburb. Once again, we continue to keep laying the foundation that others hang on our coattails.
So a large population of black families that owned their homes.
Remember, they were 30% at one point in time. They're at 18%. What's going to be the percentage for those that can rebuild? I don't want this to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if it drops from 18% down to a small percentage. I don't want that to happen, but
there have been 6 generations that within the Pasadena area.
6 generations.
Like an oasis for us. I lost my house, my mom lost her house, my uncle, he lost his home.
Wow.
My cousin lost her home. A good number of our family are now displaced.
Oh my God. Did you hear that right there? A good number of her family are now displaced. What happened in New Orleans during the Katrina situation? What happened to black people, which is going to happen to these folks here in the Los Angeles County area, is that they are displaced. And when you're displaced, how easy is it going to be for them to be able to get back to being able to rebuild? And then the question is, what is is the wealth only in their home, or do they have other wealth that would afford them the ability to rebuild? And at age 65, because the average age in this community is 65 years and up, will they have the willpower or the finances, the energy that it takes to rebuild? Not to mention, we got to be concerned about shady contractors and all kind of shady individuals that's going to be selling all type of rip-off packages, trying to get these folks into buying something that they don't need to buy, lying to them. You're going to have a lot of con men trying to prey on black folks. Let's continue.
I think it's cute. She wears skirts. Yes.
I say the help and support has been overwhelming. We're, entirely grateful.
Come back anytime. Come back for the game.
All right. So what you see right there is the family is gathering together. They're supporting each other. They're trying to get through a very horrendous situation, to say the least. This is crazy.
Talk and laugh and cry with one another. Even for many of us who've lost places, we're still out there helping, volunteering, making sure that we're all being taken care of.
Wow. Wow, this is something else, y'all. On Newsmax, what's that guy that used to be on? You'll see, he used to be on CNN. He interviewed another family. Check out this one. This was an interesting one right here. These are folks that have been in Eaton or in Altadena, generations.
Showing you home right now, and I'm just so sorry with what you guys have to deal with. But you are lucky that you have the greatest asset, which is family and faith, to hold you together. Michelle, let me ask about something else.
Sure.
Are you surprised that stories from your community and the surrounding communities haven't been getting the same amount of attention as other places in California?
Absolutely not. I think that most of what
That's an interesting question he asked her, but let me read what Highly Favored said here. She said, even though their homes were worth $1 million, this is a very interesting statement that you just left here, and I'm going to put it up on the screen because I think everybody needs to hear this. Even though their homes were worth $1 million, Black people in Altadena still were struggling. And that's why I said that some of these folks may not be able to rebuild. Some of the Black people in Altadena may have been house wealthy. What is that? What do I mean? They were basically making it off of their home and its value and whatever economic benefit that they were getting from their home. Some people are home wealthy, but not wealthy in other things. And so those Black people, according to what Highly Favored is saying, those Black people that were living in that community and kind of struggling, maybe they were at the blink of where they could lose their home. A lot of them are going to not be able to rebuild. And that's why I made that prediction that if they were 30% of the population of Altadena at one point in time, and they're now 18%, when they get through this whole situation and they can rebuild in the whole situation, what is going to be the Black population in this community when this is all said and done? That's a concern that I have. Oh, Reliable, what's going on? Saying in Vegas, they are building an underground city. Black people are building an underground city in Las Vegas. Is that true? Or is it just Las Vegas once again building an underground city for tourism and for gambling? Clarify that a little bit more. What's going on, GA? Brother Frazier? What's going on, Eddie Throne? Jonathan Kidd? Check for those who check for you. What's going on? Good to see you, Jill's Chocolate Boutique. Let's get back to this because we're getting close to conclusion, y'all. But we still got some more.
what happens, we shine a light on the people that have the wealth or the people that we think have the wealth. But what we absolutely know is the wealth comes with the family and everything that we have behind us. So we're the richest that we can possibly be. But when you ask the questions to the people that shine sometimes the brightest, what you get is what they want you to see. But our stories, the stories of individuals in Altadena and the families, that's what you don't see as much of. But the community is super strong, and we always have been. You're talking about this generational, not only home ownership, but the families that still live in Altadena. We've not ever moved. which is why we're in the situation that we are right now, where we find ourselves all homeless, because it is a community that stays together. But that's not the story that you usually hear.
But it's a story I'm proud to tell. Kimberly, is it true that there are 17 of you sharing a hotel room?
Wow,
There
17.
is. We've been able to keep us all together through this whole thing, from evacuation, where we're like, everybody just meet here and then get together. What are we going to do from here? But we've been all able to stay together.
Wow.
But not just
What
us.
kind
We've got 4 dogs and a parrot.
4 dogs and a parrot. Wow. Wow. This is wow, folks. This is something else. Definitely share the video, hit the bell notification. Make sure you check out Von Bryant's GoFundMe. I think it's his mother, if I'm not mistaken, who lives in this area and has had some loss. Thank you for coming over. I still got a few more things I need to show you. Don't go anywhere. This is something I've been wanting to talk about for a minute ever since it broke news. Everybody, let's do a test right now. When I put this picture up on the screen, I want you to let me know by putting 7s in the chat room if you've seen this picture and what are your thoughts right there. You see this black man. There's some type of fire and smoke happening in the background, right? He's got pillowcases or sheets or whatever. He's trying to take things out the house, right? They kept talking about, and you heard Fox News run with this. You've heard the media run with this. Oh, they're looting, right? And then when they talk about looting, they want to make the face of looting as if it's just black folks. When you got all different kind of folks down there that were actually looting, that they actually did arrest, right? But this was put out there in the social media spectrum. Put 7s if you've seen this picture of this guy right here. Let me show you this. Let me show you something. Let me show you the media game right here. Check this out. So you see him carrying that. They kept saying that there was looting. And of course, they put the cameras in the spectrum on black people. Now, those of you who have seen this, whether it's on YouTube, all right? So when you look at that picture, it looks like they're robbing the place, right? And everybody, this brother right here. So you had everybody on social media, whether it be TikTok, whether it be YouTube, whether it be whatever, the media that ran with this story that these guys were robbing a home in this area, in the Eaton area that they were robbing. They were taking TVs out, right? They were doing all of this type of stuff, right? We're going to see it again. They're in there taking TVs. It's all bullshit, y'all. It's all bullshit. And you see them taking something out. Now, it was all bullshit, y'all. Anybody on the YouTube streets, in your Twitter, in your social media that put that post out and said, look at these ninjas robbing. It's all a lie. Go on your YouTube channels and take it all back if you said this out of your mouth. This is the Information Man Show. We gonna course correct here. If you put this on your Twitter, your feed, and you said, oh, they're robbing, it's all a lie. First of all, this happened 2 years ago. They were in Compton, California. It wasn't even in Los Angeles. It was in Compton. Somebody's house was catching on fire, and they were trying to help one of their friends get his belongings out of the house safely. But they put this out there, and a lot of us ran with it as if they were robbing. No, the damn video is 2 years old. It happened in Compton 2 years ago. and they were trying to help one of their homeboys whose place was on fire. Look at that. You can see the smoke in the background. That's what happened. Let's course correct here. Here's the real story on this. Let's break this down right now.
Control. California Governor Gavin Newsom has now called in troops from the National Guard. This is a military reserve force, and they have been asked to put an end to the looting. Misinformation is also spreading as fast as the wildfire. This video is doing the rounds. It shows a group of men taking goods from a home. On social media, users have claimed this is footage of looters in...
They're not looting. Everybody that put this up on their channels, whatever social media you're using, and you saying that, hey, look at these ninjas looting, take it back. They ain't looting. They was trying to help out a friend whose home or apartment was burning.
Users have claimed this is footage of looters in Los Angeles. But that's incorrect.
Fake.
Turns out this is an old video, and it's not from Los Angeles, but from Compton. And these men are not looting this home. They were helping the homeowner move.
They were helping a homeowner move who was going to lose that house because there was smoke and fire in the back. So they're trying to help them get the stuff out. But a lot of y'all ninjas, whether it be on YouTube, whatever it may be, y'all ain't gonna give Information Man no credit for this. Y'all ran with it and further demonized the image of black folks. Now, were there people that were doing some stuff out there of all different races that they caught and they arrested and booked? Yes. But this shit was old and they were trying to help somebody out.
And it's not from Los Angeles, but from Compton. And these men are not looting this home. They were helping the homeowner move.
Right.
The crisis in Los Angeles shows how extreme weather events are intensifying. And this exposes just how unprepared our communities, our governments, and public spaces are to deal with it.
You see right there, the point that she said is that the government is unprepared, not doing the right thing. Let me show you why they're one reason why they're unprepared. Let me just show you something real quick. I don't want to be too wordy here, but let's go over. How many of you, if you live in California, you don't live in California, how many of you are familiar with Prop 13? Part of this problem is that Prop 13 would have made it possible to get more tax revenue from homeowners, which could actually have helped them with the fire department, could have helped them to generate money towards fighting off wildfires or preparing against wildfire. Check this out. Prop 13 made it harder, much harder, to raise taxes of any kind in California. A limited property tax and reassessment, basically taxation, can't keep us with population growth of a state or with its infrastructure needs. And we got a lot of infrastructure needs. Take this, for example, New York Times. Tri Park, the Los Angeles City Council member whose district included Pacific Palisades, which was on fire, said that the city water systems were among several places of critical underfunding infrastructure. And because of Prop 13, you don't have that extra revenue. I understand people don't want to be taxed more on their homes. I get it. But damn it, who you think gonna pay for it? When the people in LA were saying, where's the fire department? And people that were in Altadena, they didn't get no firemen there. Now, could it be because it's a black community and nobody gave a damn? Well, a lot of people lost their homes, right? In all these areas, the rich lost their homes too. But if you don't get proper tax, then who pays for this? They didn't have proper infrastructure. There are environmental catastrophes that are waiting to happen everywhere with our water mains. She said that, adding that some were current or centuries old. The infrastructure was old. Didn't Joe Biden have an infrastructure bill and you had the Republicans trying to stop that infrastructure bill? These damn politicians play a lot of games. So when you say, why is it that they had problem with their water? Because California, that area, they had old infrastructure that should have been repaired, should have been replaced, and brought up to date. The environment, look, check this out again. Adding that some were centuries old. As our city has grown, we have not upgraded and expanded the infrastructure that we need to support it. You hear what I'm saying here? Consider the crumbling schools and the roads in much of California, including Oakland. I know that for a fact because I lived in Oakland for a dime. You got infrastructure problems, roads that are in bad shape. And we're paying, look at this out. Californians, we pay more taxes than anybody, but we get less for our damn taxes. Where's all this damn money going? Plus, we pay extra gasoline tax because of our environmental protection rules about the gasoline emissions. Crumbling schools, roads in much California, including Oakland, where I live. This is what she's saying. Californians vote for it because they'd rather have cash than infrastructure. So basically, people voted for the Prop 13 to rather not be taxed because people need more money in their pockets. Because why? It's expensive to live here. You got to rob Paul to pay Dave. You rob Peter to pay Paul. But one way or another, you have a fire. Now you don't have money. You don't have infrastructure that's been rebuilt to sustain against this type of fire because nobody saw it as a priority because it ain't as sexy as saying, let's give a whole bunch of money for the police department because that's direct. They rather have cash than infrastructure, and because of the concern of trolling about old people threatened with losing their homes because of high property taxes. So think about it. I get it. If you got if black people in Altadena are 65 years and up, they're in retirement years, they're in their golden years, they don't want more taxes because that's less money to have to enjoy. I get it. But part of this, not getting enough tax revenue, plays into this, and then what the politicians do with the money that they do get, they don't do shit with it properly. They're concerned about losing their homes or high property taxes. Blanket limitations on taxes were not the right way to deal with the particular issues. Of course, it splits property taxes, rolling and dividing up commercial and personal real estate, or even some kind of age-based cap would have done it. But no, nobody wanted it. Prop 13 had an impact to the tax base if it would have been used correctly for modern infrastructure. These areas also do not create defensible space using annual goat herds and bulldozing. Like if you use, I'm gonna tell you right now, you know what could have helped them, and I see it in my own community. Something as little as having goats and various animals out there that could eat the brush. That's all they had to do. They didn't even have to have people out there physically doing the job. They could actually have had animals grazing in the brush that could have helped this situation. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. It says it right here. Goat herds or bulldozer breaks to give homeowners a fighting chance. Multi-approach must be tailored to each specific small geographical area, such as these areas where it's been local volunteer firefighters that can man their own trucks to protect their neighborhoods. Local and state politicians own part of the blame. They need insurance companies. We're counseling policies using satellites and drone maps due to high risk and had no strategy to address it. Too busy trying to further promote their careers instead of being a humble servant to the people. Damn it, that's the truth.
Tell the truth.
Damn it, that's the truth. One more here about Prop 13. Greg Pearson is a researcher at the University of California, Los Angeles, who studies water resources and urban planning. He echoes the concerns over water systems that are designed for urban fire. What I'm saying is what I tried to say earlier in my podcast here. The water systems in Los Angeles were designed for urban firefighting, not this blaze fire of these suburban areas in these counties, in these woods. It was not designed for that. Let's read this again. Los Angeles study water resources and urban planning echoes that the concern over water that are designed for urban fires is not fast moving for wildfires. So the water that comes out of the system, this is what they're not telling you. But I'm telling you, I live in California. The water that comes out of the urban water systems for firefighters does not have the same power and trajectory for taking out fire of a house, for example. It doesn't have the same power when it comes to like what you would call a forest fire, because the fire that has happened in California is basically a forest fire damn near. The urban fire is not fast moving like wildfire, but redesigning the water systems to allow firefighters to take on a broad wildfire would be enormously expensive, he said, meaning they got to put more money in it. It always comes down to money. The more fundamental question, he said, the doctor said, is whether it's a good idea to rebuild neighborhoods adjacent to wild land. This is another question that people have been talking about, that maybe, just maybe, we should stop building homes and apartments and communities near wildlife areas that are heavily wooded. Maybe, just maybe, communities, urban planners, people who do urban planning, maybe they've got to rethink about whether you should be building homes in areas where they should not be homes. Just like when you have flooding and you're building homes in flood zones, you shouldn't be doing that. And then when they flood, everybody is surprised. Adjacent to wildlands in issues that has been broadly debated across the West as climate change increased the frequency and intensity of fire on what is known as wildland urban interface, y'all. That means Governor Newsom, you failed. You failed to prepare the state properly. You failed to put enough money in your budget. You failed. And I'm going to tell y'all something right now. Y'all know that we have this situation in California for the reparations. We're not getting that reparations because they can use this situation as the excuse to say, hey, we got this wildfire. These sort of things impact our priority when it comes to reparations, because everybody's going to be out and going to need the money. This country's been sending our reparations, everybody, to the Ukraine and every damn where else. They can send billions of dollars to the Ukraine. They can send billions of dollars to Israel. Damn it, why don't the federal government send the billions of dollars to California to help these people here, help the poor, help the needy? Think about what that money could do if they infused $1 billion or more into various urban settings and communities like this, and take that money and make it possible for people to buy proper housing instead of giving that money to foreigners who don't even vote in our government. But yet we voting and they getting our money. Let me bring up something to your attention. This couple right here. How many of y'all know that most of the water, 57% of the water in California, is owned and controlled by this couple right here? How many of y'all know that? I'm going to tell you right now, no state, this is just my opinion, No family, no one individual, no wife, no one man, no one family should own 57% of the water of any state. The water should be owned by the people of the state. It should be ran and controlled completely by the state of California, by the state of Texas, by the state of New York, whatever state y'all live at in the chat room. Do y'all agree with me that no family, I don't care if they're billionaires, whoever they are, they should make a rule and a law that no one individual can own that much water and have that much control over water. Now, they're saying that people believe that this couple right here, who have made their billions in agriculture and nuts and various things, and they use a lot of damn water that they control, that they've gotten rich off, but people think that they are the reason why the water wasn't working. They were being blamed, but the news is saying, no, they're not really the blame. Because more of the blame has to do with what I just read to you about infrastructure not being equipped for the type of fire that they're going through in LA. But at the same time, even if they're not responsible for the water issue because they control 57% of the water in California, why in the hell is two white folks right here, why the hell do they control 57% of the water of a damn state that's made up of millions of people with a government? That's crazy. The water should be controlled by the state of California and solely by the state of California, meaning the people, not a billionaire family. This is nasty work, as they say, as y'all say, as this generation says today on YouTube. This is nasty work. This is nasty work. But let me let you hear a little bit about these folks. I still don't think they should have that much control of water. Check this out.
Recent posts alleging that one wealthy LA couple, Stuart and Linda Resnick, own more than half the water in California, are circulating online. Now, the couple own the Wonderful Food Company, a large food producer. Several posts like these allege they've been hoarding water needed for firefighting efforts. But these claims are not true, and here's why. Across California, there are systems called water banks. They're underground reservoirs that collect...
You're absolutely right, brown girl, Bella. Please never wanted to give, they never wanted to give us reparation in the first, never wanted to give us in the first place. And they'll use these sort of things as the excuse not to give us anything. But let's hear this some more. This is interesting. Even though the media is trying to say that they're not impacting the water problem as it relates to the fire workers really the people that's fighting these fires at high numbers are those individuals that are incarcerated, right? But they shouldn't own this. They shouldn't own all this damn water in California.
Water during rainier years so that it can be used during periods of drought. The Resnicks own the rights. They're underground reservoirs that collect water during rainier years so that it can be used during periods of drought. The Resnicks own the right to use 57% of the water in the Kern Water Bank, which is located about 150 miles from Los Angeles. Now,
Tell me why that everybody, I'm going to say it again. How can one family owned 57% of the water in a damn state? That should not be allowed. And the people that are in leadership of California, they're the blame for this. There's no way that they should have allowed this family. There should be special rules put in place to not allow any one family to own that much water when water is a precious commodity that everybody should have access. This is crazy.
The bank can hold up to 500 billion gallons of water for use by farms and some local municipalities. Plus, a spokesperson for the Wonderful Company told us the Kern Water Bank is one of numerous water sources the Resnicks own the rights to. They say they only tap into it during dry years.
I don't give a damn when they tap into it. Nobody should own that much water in a damn state.
However, the key phrase here is water rights. In California, water rights holders don't own the actual water. They own the right to use the water. The city of LA doesn't typically use water from the Kern Water Bank, but it could during a severe drought. Additionally, according to the California Department of Water Resources, if the state felt the water was being wasted or misused, it could revoke access. So how does the water the Resnick own affect the fires we're seeing today? It doesn't. While there are legitimate questions about the county's preparedness, the fires themselves aren't spreading because LA doesn't have enough water in storage. In fact,
that's my whole point, MZ, Kim, Bling, and Bar. A private person should not be allowed to own any water sources. They should have to pay for it, meaning if you got a farm, if you got a business, obviously they're in business to make money. They're in agriculture. They're involved in selling products. They should have to pay the state, just like me and you. Like, for example, those of you in the chat room that have a water bill, right? You pay a water bill, right? I pay a damn water bill. Every time I take a shower, I use the water in cooking anything, I get a water bill. And I got to pay that water bill. Why shouldn't they not pay a water bill for every time they use that water? They should be paying the state of California for using the state of California's water, just like all of us. And you pay based on how much you use. No, these suckers got 57% of the water at their exposure. And then you heard the reporter say that they said that, well, we don't really tap into the water unless we have to, unless there's a drought. All that damn privilege. All that damn privilege. All that damn privilege. This couple right here. If you go on YouTube and put in YouTube who owns the water in California, there'll be tons of videos that will give you even more details. This woman right here, her husband and her, they got quite a background, how they got rich and how they got wealthy and who they were connected to. This is all about people that are part of the 1% that are well connected in California. And this is old money we're talking about. Old money, not new money.
California's water department says reservoirs in the south of the state are currently at or above historical averages. The former chair of the California State Water Resources Control Board, Felicia Marcus, believes there are so many fires and they cover such a large part of LA that an urban water system just can't handle the demand.
What did I just say to you all? The urban water systems cannot handle this kind of fire. And even if the reservoirs were full, and that's not the problem is that what difference if you got water if your infrastructure, your sprinkler, your water systems are not up to date? The infrastructure in California, in Southern California, this falls on who? The governor. As everybody wants to blame Karen Bass, who's responsible as a mayor for the local city issues. She's not responsible for what's happening in the county. When it comes to the county, it's the responsibility of those mayors, those leaders in those particular cities, and then the buck falls on the governor to have a plan for the whole state, to recognize that we got water systems that are not working. So even if we got water, we can't even get the systems running. And we need to create our water systems to be able to deal with not only urban fires, Gavin Newsom, but wildfires that you would have in a wilderness.
Marcus also told us that, quote, there are issues with the water rights system in California. They're just not related to this fire.
All right, y'all. Let me give y'all some more history. Check this out right here. What did I say about black people and our foundation to this country, our history and how we've been embedded? Do you know, when you talk about black firemen, this is one of the first black firemen in the LA area, an LA firefighter in uniform in 1910. Shades of an LA collection of Los Angeles Public Library. This is one of the first black firemen in Los Angeles that you're looking at on the screen. Check this out. Here's a all-black fire station. A group of black Americans, firefighters, part of an engine company, number 14, poses in front of their station on the corner of S Central Avenue and 34th Street in 1936. a legacy collection at Los Angeles Public Library. Let's give you some history. Let's turn first to the archives in 1818 census, 1888 census record list for Sam Hawkins. Okay, it was Sam Hawkins, a former enslaved Virginian, as a firefighter for the city of Los Angeles. Sam was a Western pioneer, if ever there was one, and he was the first Los Angeles firefighter to die on the job, unfortunately. How I wish that we could know more of his department. Beginning in 1902, right after Jim Crow separation and discrimination rose to prominence elsewhere in the nation. LA segregated firehouse persists through the mid-1950s. That's the firehouse. I believe this is the brother Sam here that they're talking about. So you're getting some knowledge over here on the Information Man Show. We ain't over here just talking about some old nonsense. We got a lot of nonsense on the YouTube streets, but you're going to get some knowledge over here. As in other areas of civil rights activism, our city Black American firefighters repeatedly raised the interrogation question, the intelligent question, pushing back against the segregation, discrimination practices so much part of the era. This is about what they went through. They did so while constantly risking their lives fighting fires of all kinds, resident, commercial, and rural, like firefighters across the time placed these black men, and they were men until people like me showed up responding to disasters, large and small, rescue people. The life-saving work of Black Los Angeles firefighters helped against the backdrop of a great migration, the movement of Black American people from the South out across the East to the Rust Belt and into the far West, especially the Southern California, Our lives as 20th and 21st century firefighters played out within the context of over 2 centuries of struggle, from Dred Scott, remember the Dred Scott case? Dred Scott, to Plessy versus Ferguson, to Brown versus Brown of Education. To put another way, we fight firefighters in the station or on the line. There they go. Firefighting is meaningful, fulfilling work, but it must also be understood as part of a large context of history. So once again, black people, we got skin in the game in this country, y'all. So that's why it's a waste of time to be debating with people who just got here yesterday trying to tell us about how we should see ourselves and why we shouldn't delineate ourselves, because we got skin in the game. Our ancestors got skin in the game. We didn't get here just yesterday. Now, as I get close to conclusion, you got Karen Bass again, who did not speak up when she should have spoke up to the reporter here.
Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today? Elon Musk
she had nothing to say. And then this brother right here, you probably saw this video already. This brother right here is criticizing people for criticizing her. And check this out.
This country's a goddamn joke. So Karen Bass got to go. The mayor of a city, one city, not even of all of California, got to go because of the lies that y'all telling about how she's managed these fires. First of all, the fact that y'all are believing these lies without even taking the time to verify that they are lies tells me a lot about y'all, and it tells me a lot about why the country is exactly where it is. Makes a lot of sense. But the fact that y'all are saying that the mayor of a city has to go at the same fucking time that y'all just gave power back to a dude who mismanaged a pandemic so badly,
Donald Trump,
that 1 million people ain't here no more, says a lot. The dude who took the pandemic response playbook left to him by Obama and threw it out because he didn't like Obama, And him throwing out that playbook made the pandemic worse, which again cost 1 million people their lives. Y'all gave him the job back? The dude who fired the pandemic response team because he said, and I quote, "I don't like having a bunch of people around when we don't need them." Y'all gave him the fucking job back. But Karen Bass got to go. The dude who was caught on audio tape, I'm going to say it again, he's caught on audio tape lying about how bad the pandemic is going to be. Y'all gave him the job back, but Karen Bass got to go. The dude, there's not enough ways for me to say, fuck y'all. It's not enough ways and not enough time.
All right, y'all. What do y'all think about that video? I mean, some of the things that he said were legitimate, but at the same time, they are going to hold her accountable for whatever role that she plays. And of course, Gavin Newsom has got to be held accountable for what role he plays because he's the damn governor of the whole damn state. Karen Bass is not the governor. She is the mayor of LA, not LA County. LA County makes up many other cities that have mayors of the, but you notice you didn't hear anybody call out the mayors of those other places and say they need to be fired, right? Because she's not, if those other counties or other cities have bad water systems that are not working, that's not Karen Bass's fault. She can be held accountable for what's going on in her neck of the woods, which is LA. That's where it does fall on Gavin Newsom as the governor who's in charge of the whole damn enchilada. In this case, the state. He's been getting away with, for the last few years that he's been in office as the governor for a second term, California's been getting away with using the incarcerated like this brother to fight the fires. That's what they've been fighting with. And this brother right here, I was telling you that this brother right here, he trains people. I think this is him right here again, but it still represents that you got black men out here who are either incarcerated or working with the incarcerated to fight these fires. Right there. Let me go with my last video. This will be my last presentation for today. This video, I had to show this video. This will be the video that will come to the conclusion of our program today. This video will be an eye-opener because this shows you how black people, you look at black people that live in the Eaton area, Altadena, who own their homes, who are been there for generations. What's going on? Bonnie Rose, Jonathan Kidd, Alicia, check for those who check for you. Julian, Jill's Chocolate Boutique, Vaughn Bryan, MZ Kim Bling and Bar, O Reliable, Alice Angel, all of you who are here, I appreciate you. Reps, thank you for coming over. But let me let you see this as part of our ending program today, what they did to black people. What black people had to go through to get us a piece of the damn apple pie. This is in Madera, California, which is in Northern California where I'm at. I'm not in Madera, but I'm saying this is up here in California, the so-called liberal state. Check out the games that they played to try to keep black people out of certain communities, particularly to maintain white suburbs. And any of you that know about Northern California, then you should be familiar with a place called East Palo Alto. It's sort of a rough neighborhood these days, but that's an area that they force black people into. Check this out. Let's get to it. Let's just get to it.
To understand how this happened. And it turned out these relics of segregation grew out of a historical moment more often remembered for progressivism and inclusion.
I pledge myself,
Roosevelt,
to a new deal for the American people.
The New Deal programs launched between 1933 and the end of the Second World War.
Remember, He created a program called the New Deal to help poor white folks out. Black people didn't get none of this money. Black folks didn't get a dime of money. They try to make black people the face of welfare. When the welfare program was created, black people, it wasn't created for black people, it was created for white folks. Black people didn't get no New Deal. Let's just keep that in mind as we play this.
Or transform society. But Black Americans reaped far fewer benefits from these programs than white Americans.
The New Deal expanded government capacities in a way that provided economic rights for people. The right to capital, the right to a job, the right to health care, the right to old age pension. What was problematic is that that right was not inclusive.
One of the clearest examples of this came when New Deal agencies began insuring affordable home loans. Before backing the loans, agencies mapped communities across the country, dividing them into zones judged to be higher or lower risk for banks.
You see the game that they played, the redlining game that they played? It's real.
Records show a key factor federal mapmakers used to determine this perceived risk was race. This practice, called redlining, largely cut people of color off from affordable borrowing.
It's not a case that you just
stop
had
right there. It wasn't people of color. I hate that term. It was specifically black people who that law, it was specifically black people that this was targeted towards. It wasn't no people of color. It was black people who were the ones that they were targeting this towards. All these other folks wasn't here. It was black folks who were the ones that they were targeting with these rules.
These bigoted bankers and these bigoted homeowners, the federal government was culpable. Black people, by design, were excluded from this benefit.
Black people, not people of color. It was black people, black Americans. Foundational. ADOS, whatever we want to call it.
It's exactly what happened in Ladera. In the late 1940s, a mixed-race group of about 100 families banded together to build cheap homes near Stanford University. Workers, teachers, and professors, including the novelist Wallace Stegner, formed a cooperative to buy and transform a tract of hilly ranch land into an affordable suburb named Ladera. But the project soon stalled.
No bank would give them the loan to build these homes. The banks wouldn't do it because the Federal Housing Administration wouldn't insure their loans because of these 100 members of the cooperative, 3 were African Americans.
See?
At the time, the Federal Housing Administration explicitly recommended that race restrictions be used in new suburban.
Thank you for the super chat, Elizabeth. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat.
Thank you for the super stickers, which you gave me. Oh, my girl. Oh, Mrs. 78, Vayana. What's going on? She gave me the $19.99. I appreciate it. Let me do this. Let me do this for you all. Thank you. Let me put you on the screen right here. And thank you again.
Thank you for the super chat.
Thank you for the super chat. Elizabeth, thank you for the super chat. And what have you. Thank you for the support. I appreciate that very much. Thank you both. Let's continue this as we get ready to conclude today's program. I hope you all have gotten something out of today's program.
Developments. Its lending manual even included instructions for banning buyers who weren't the race for which new homes were intended.
The segregation that this program alone created is responsible for much of the racial inequality we have in this country today.
Unable to find financing, the Ladera Cooperative disbanded and sold the land to a private developer who built Ladera as a whites-only community. By the 1950s, this...
You see? Whites-only communities. This is what was going on. This is a history that we cannot forget. We need to recognize and know where you have to know where we came from to know where the hell we're going today. This is why I'm very concerned about what's going to happen to those black people in Altadena in terms of being, or just people being able to get their property rebuilt in this whole fire situation in Southern California. I'm concerned. I'm not only for people that have lost their property of any race, but specifically when it comes to people who look like myself, because we know that it was a struggle for us to get those homes in the first place and get into these communities because they didn't want us there.
Mix of federal policy and private discrimination left few options for Black Americans seeking homes in this part of California.
See? California,
my
so-called liberal state.
Got involved with the Palo Alto Stanford branch of the NAACP. They were proving that there was housing discrimination. And it was notorious here, very subtle.
She's black, y'all. She's
but
black.
It was notorious. My dad could easily pass for white. My
See?
mom was brown skinned. You knew who she was. It was.
Woo! That's another, oh my goodness. It's a whole nother video here, but that's another thing to keep in mind. Remember, there were black people who looked like that lady that were very fair skinned who could either pass for white or not. Her father could pass for white, but he was a black man. There's a whole history that a lot of people, this is why other people of other ethnic groups, y'all need to really learn the history. And you will understand why black people in general, sometimes we have a chip on our shoulder. We have an attitude about certain stuff. There's a long history that's deep here. If you were a black person that couldn't pass, they say no. If you could somehow pass, they would treat you a little different if they thought you were white. I think that was interesting what she said. I'm going to move that back just a little bit so y'all can catch that and go back into that last video right here.
My dad got involved with the Palo Alto Stanford branch of the NAACP. They were proving that there was housing discrimination. And it was notorious here, very subtle, but it was notorious. My dad could easily pass for white.
See?
My mom was brown skinned. You knew who she was. It was actually something that was very painful for my mother because my dad would go to rent an apartment or to buy property. They'd say, wonderful. He'd say, let me bring my wife. And as soon as she came back with him, they would say, no, this is no longer.
Woo! Did y'all hear that? They black. The father could pass for white because he didn't have certain negroid features. That's a word, negroid features. He looked more white, but his wife had more negroid features, and she stuck out she stuck out. So he would go and buy the property, and they would think that he was a white man and he could buy the property. As soon as he present his wife, they say, oh, hell no. Look. This shit goes on today. Remember the video of the black woman that was married to a white man? They were trying to sell their home and they had pictures in the house. And when people would go in the house and see that it was a home that was lived in by a white man and a black woman, and she had the pictures of her son, because the kids look black. And they couldn't sell the house. People were not buying the house because a black person lived in it. This is today's time, not those times. And then her white husband decided to put pictures of his white family in the household and make the house look like it's only been lived in by a white person, like himself. And as soon as he did that, they were able to sell the house and get a better offer. That happened, 3-4 years ago? There was a video circulating all over social media about that. Remember that? Anybody in the chat room know what I'm talking about? Put sevens in the chat room. So this happened back in the 50s and 40s that she's talking about, and we still got stuff going on today. Because he had a black wife, he couldn't sell the home and get a proper value for it until he... Wow.
Available.
When my parents came here from Alabama, they figured, okay, this is a nice area. We don't have to worry about our kids getting lynched. There's not open racism, but they didn't factor in that there was a slew of hidden racism.
Hidden racism, everybody, is called institutionalized racism. It's institutionalized and baked into the system. How many of y'all have seen the movie Raisin in the Sun? It's institutionalized where they don't have to blatantly come out and say, we don't sell to black people. They just do institutional things to keep you from buying a house. And what they also would do with black people particularly is that they would guide them to certain areas. They would allow you to buy in a certain area, but never buy in an area where white people lived at all. They would keep you away from certain desirable neighborhoods. And man, this shit still goes on today.
About 9 miles from Ladera, Elwyn Rayner's family opened up this service station in one of the only areas open to black American property buyers, now known as East Palo Alto.
The African Americans were guided to this area.
See?
Any houses on the other side of the freeway were considered to be out of their price range.
Reps, thank you. And he's talking about East Palo Alto. So if you are familiar with East Palo Alto in Northern California, East Palo Alto is made up of a lot of black people, Latinos, and what have you. It's not, I'm going to be honest, it's not the best area now. It was nice at one point in time, but it's gotten really bad there. But they forced black people in the beginning to live in that area. There's a reason why. See, we never think about these things like, why do certain people live in certain areas? In San Francisco, we have the Mission District, where you have a lot of people of Mexican heritage that live, or Latino heritage that live in the Mission District in San Francisco. Why do they live there? Because that's where they were forced and pushed to live. You have Chinatown. How the hell you think you got Chinatowns all across the country? Because the Chinese, when they first came here, they weren't allowed to bring their women, but they were pushed to live in a certain part. This is American apple pie. This is this is the American way. It's been the American way for a very, very long time.
Or the interest rate alone would kill that dream of them owning a house because they couldn't afford it. It's like they say you're on the wrong side of the tracks. For us, it was the wrong side of the freeway.
Wow. For decades, East Palo Alto and neighboring Bellhaven were unincorporated communities without a city government, where housing shared space with heavy industry, and residents enjoyed few of the amenities available to the majority white suburbs like Palo Alto, Menlo Park, or Ladera.
Rep says this really breaks my heart, how our people are always relegated to the bottom right, even though we were the foundation of the internet. Right. Georgia told Oprah that they don't want her there no matter who she was. Yeah, that's right. That's right. This is why I'm concerned about those communities that got burnt down, particularly the black communities that got burnt down, and whether black folks and other folks are going to be able to rebuild. Because I'm telling you, the people that's winning in this situation is going to be the banks. The banks are going to win big on this. The corporations. And don't get me wrong, everybody listening. I'm not saying that I don't care about the fact that you had other groups of people and racial, ethnic groups that lost their homes. I don't want to see anybody lose their homes.
We had roads that were badly paved.
East Palo Alto.
We had many a neighborhood that did not have sidewalks. We had a school district that was grossly underfunded. We were walking in the middle of the street instead of walking on sidewalks. We had bad lighting. We had bad water.
Here it is.
We didn't even have a city. We didn't have a place where we could go and complain even.
Damn.
Today, East Palo Alto is 70% black and Latino.
See?
The median family income is $83,000.
What did I just tell y'all? Didn't I just tell y'all that it's damn? I didn't even know that. I'm learning myself. 70% black and Latino. This community, East Palo Alto in Northern California, was created because they pushed black people into this area first. Then when other groups came in, like the Latino, didn't I say earlier that black people, we live in communities that we had to fight to get in that damn community? And then what happens when other groups come to this country or come over, because white folks don't want them in their community, they do what? they put them in our community. And then it goes from being a black community into a black and Latino community, right? And you notice one of the common denominators that I notice here, black people, we accept every damn body. We'll accept all kind of people in our community. We'll embrace them. Yeah, there'll be some friction. There's always been friction between different groups. But what I notice is that this is what people fail to understand. Whenever you have ethnic groups living in a community with black people, 9 out of 10 times we got there first through struggle and civil rights. Then the other groups come into the country or come over. The white folks say, we don't want you in our community, so put them with the black people. And then you wonder, how do you get an East Palo Alto that's 70% Latino and black? Because that's the evolution of it. Long as we don't live anywhere near them, let's throw them over here. And give them no resources. Give them poor schools, poor education in the schools, poor hospitals, poor resources. You heard them say right there, back in the day, they didn't even have sidewalks.
Half the household's rent, and more than 10% of families live in poverty.
Living in poverty.
Compare this to
10%.
Ladera.
Damn it.
75% white. The median family income stands just below $200,000.
Do you understand what's going on here? He said back in the day, what separated two communities would be a train track, right? But in Northern California, we got communities separated by freeways. So both these communities are in the same place. They both not that far from Stanford University, which is his own damn town down there. I've been there. 200,000 is their income in this community, which is right across from the freeway from East Palo Alto. 1% poverty, whereas the median income in this community on the other side of the tracks where it's poor is $83,000, poverty at 10%. This is in California, the so-called liberal state. That's why when people keep talking about, oh, you people in California are too liberal, y'all. It ain't as liberal as you think. The only people that talk like that are people who don't live in California. If you live here and you grow up here and you've been here, you will know that most of that liberal stuff and all that hippie shit, that shit been gone since the 60s and 70s. California is just as corporate, just as greedy as any other damn state. Yeah, we might have some goofy laws out here and all that kind of stuff that you don't agree with, but at the end of the day, we ain't no damn different. We still got racism out here, segregation, communities that's been segregated, all kind of nonsense that goes on, redlining that goes on the sly.
The poverty rate is 1%, and nobody rents.
And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that one out, what that's really all about.
What's it all about?
Well, it's about race.
Right.
What is critical to note is that a white asset-based middle class didn't simply emerge. It was structured, and was structured largely through home ownership. It was structured largely through policy that facilitated white people to acquire homes that appreciated over their lifetime, that could be passed down to future generations as well.
The considerable gap in education and income between America's black families and white families has slowly narrowed since the civil rights era. But the gap—
You hear what that young brother was saying right there? Ladies and gentlemen, that is the show for today. I had to show that video to put some things in perspective as we talked about the fire in Los Angeles, Southern California, and what has happened to black folks in the community near Eaton, where they had those fires that started in those hills that eventually burned communities within the counties. You had Altadena, a thriving black community that was there from the very beginning. They were at 30%. It was 30% black at one point in time. They're 18%. I think the largest population now, because there's population shifts, definitely is about 26% Latino, or I like to say, I don't like that term Latino. I like to say people who are Spanish speaking. Because Latino is not a ethnic group. It's a language, Latin. Nobody is speaking Latin. But so everybody, I want y'all to keep an eye on what's going on. Let's see what's going to happen in terms of people being able to get back to the community and build their homes. I'm very concerned about it. And that video shows you the games and the tricks that they play. It doesn't mean that they don't stop. They don't, how can I say this? It doesn't mean that they're not going to continue to play these games. So thank you, everybody, for coming over and watching the channel. Maybe my next show will be something even more polarizing that will get the attention of people. Because I notice when I do more polarizing content, like the Fat Joe content, you get 600 people over here watching when you're talking about Fat Joe. But when I'm talking about something like this, that's more important than Fat Joe, because we know that Fat Joe is a liar, right? But I'm talking about something that's more important than that. And I'll get 600 people talking about Fat Joe and maybe get about 70 people over here talking about something that's more important. It's just interesting how YouTube works and what the YouTube algorithms are willing to push out there. So everybody, do me the biggest favor. Share the video on all your social media. Share it with your friends, family, and loved ones, because I did my best to provide something that was educational, but to the point today. And I thank you all in the chat room. With that said, everybody, I got to get ready to get on out of here. You all tell somebody that you love them. And with that said, we're gonna do this again. Peace. This is the Information Man Show. Jonathan Kidd, you just broke it down, brother. You say they got more Nazi gangs out there in California more than anywhere else. Don't sleep on the racism. Right, brother, right.